Throwing in Ashley and Aneesa? What are we doing, team that I am rooting for? Plus, romance strikes the rivals. House Katie's Masterclass is in session. Not the most graceful of flyers from this group. Two very different calls home to significant others. And Steve and Adam continue their potentially historic elimination run. It's the challenge. All Stars 5 Rivals. Episode 4 recap coming up right now. What up, my fellow challenge lovers? Welcome to The Challenge Historian, where we dive deep into all things MTV's The Challenge, past, present, or future. If it's happening in the Challenge universe, we are here to document it. I am your host and dedicated challenge historian, Jacob Hollabaugh. Thank you so much for being here with me on this Wednesday night or whenever you are listening to discuss All Stars 5 Rivals, episode 4, or now, as they seem to be trying to train us to say via the episodes itself, All Stars Rivals, or Rivals All Stars, Challenge Rivals All Stars. They said it a whole bunch of different ways this episode. I don't know what we're supposed to say. I still like saying All Stars 5 to signify it's the fifth of those. Anyways, I digress. That is a pointless thing. It's Rivals, it's All Stars, it's great, or at least it had been great. The first 3 episodes had been great. This one, where some of the warts are getting bigger, we will discuss it. We'll discuss the good, the bad, the in-between, all of it. Before we do, the only programming reminder is yesterday. Yes, it took longer than anticipated because we still don't know the full cast, and I was waiting to maybe know the full cast, but at some point you just got to do the podcast. We put out the Challenge 41 cast instant reactions discussing everyone that we knew, which is a majority of the people who left to go film, at least all the vets. Most of the rookies were known. We broke it down, and gotta say, tons of you are tuning in. Love that. Thank you, as always. And most of you, seemingly all of the feedback so far has been that I'm a little bit crazy and that you disagree with me, which is fantastic. And everyone has so far been doing it in a, mostly appropriate way. No, just your dumb comments and leaving it at that, but some actual arguments back and playful. Come on, this is ridiculous. You're wrong. This, that, and the other. So good job by you, challenge community, and those of you listening to do this in a fair way, but very polarizing, very divisive so far, it seems. My opinion, my fantasy cast for Challenge 41 and the things I think they could have done differently, but still liked a lot. Still was plenty of positive in there. So either way, if you haven't checked it out, go check that out. YouTube, podcast, wherever you get these, you will find it. And then otherwise, it'll be All Stars 5 recaps for the foreseeable future every Wednesday night. Same agenda tonight. As always, run through the episode, awards, power rankings, and predictions. So without further ado, All Stars. Wait, we're supposed to say the Challenge Rivals All Stars, aka All Stars 5, aka All Stars 5 Rivals. Either way you split it, it's episode 4. Here's the recap. Let's do it. The opening house segment, we get not quite a full-on continuation of the end of last week, but we do kind of get the fallout from last week, but we see a few other things first. But one of those other things we see features one of the two people who was arguing at the end of last week's episode. That is Ashley. Ashley calls home to her boyfriend. She is very frustrated, and she at least is aware by the end of the call to be like, I'm sorry for taking out all my frustrations on you and that I yelled at you when you're just over there. You're not here. You're not have nothing to do with this. But boy, does she yell at him. And she also does so on an iPhone. Later in the episode, Frank gets to use like the full iPad miniature, small if it's a computer screen, but computer screen. Ashley straight up just on an iPhone FaceTiming. So like, can she use the slightly larger screen? It's not that much bigger, but it's still not a cell phone. Anyways, being Ashley's boyfriend has to be an experience. My goodness. The poor guy, all we hear him say is, hey, that sucks, but I love you. And her response is, I don't give a fuck that you love me, which is a thing that, if you're dating Ashley, you understand that isn't meant to be taken literally, that she's airing her grievances at other people, and you're just along for the ride. And it looks like quite the ride. That is for damn sure. But after this call, she is able to vent. Maybe it happens before Aneesa apologizes. Maybe in real time, it actually happens after. Who knows? either way, we see her get that vent out, and then Aneesa and her do have an apology. And I got to admit, it was fine. It was good. I've definitely deserved, as far as like Aneesa should definitely apologize. And it was a nice moment, I'm sure. But I will be fully honest, I kind of spaced out a little bit during it, which mostly means it was a nice, fine moment that I ultimately was way less interested in than the fight that caused this apology. So it is what it is, but they kind of at least, make amends for the time being. And the only other thing to discuss from that opening house segment would then be Katie's Masterclass. And, last season we had CT's pro tips. Those didn't last super long. I'm hoping Katie's Masterclass can last a little bit longer than CT's pro tips. And I mean, I guess they got like 4 or 5 episodes out of CT's pro tips, but, so maybe they should have started Katie's Masterclass earlier if we were going to, but I don't know that we're going to get repeat viewing. I feel like, at the end, we get the beginning and then we get it again at the end of the episode and kind of act like, it's complete, but it's very good. I more often than not like the kind of funny edits that they can put into this and kind of make a thing. And, clearly the person knows in the confessional that they're going to, do some graphics, do up the editing with this and everything and have a fun time with it. And they have a fun time with it. And it's great. And Katie's amazing. And she does have a point. I love the flashbacks to the Inferno, the treadmill. If you are not familiar with that flashback that they show, just to fill you in, that elimination, yes, was walking on a treadmill for longer than your opponent, but you had to wear a tracksuit that they dumped itching powder inside of. And Katie eventually smoked cigarettes during said elimination. I'm still to this day the only person to win an elimination while smoking a cigarette during it. Pretty incredible stuff by her. Icon that she is. And yes, she is correct when saying, it's interesting that they did show an actual physical moment from the show when she's like, hey, I might not be the greatest player over there, but when it comes to the politics and the social, I'm pretty good at that side of things. And I'm at least good at causing a fuss if I'm the one constantly targeted. And my good friend Adam over here is just being all jolly and nice about constantly being targeted. So now I got to take him to school. I liked that. I liked the scene between them. We'll touch on later, but I liked, after he wins the elimination, the whole thing, all really, really good stuff. And just love Katie to death. Then we go to the daily challenge, and here is where things, I'm not saying fall apart by any means, but the seams of this possibly being when it's all said and done, a great season. The thing in the first 3 episodes that I have loved, that I have raved about, that I think most others feel somewhat similar, on a scale certainly, but mostly positive feedback and reviews from fans and everyone in the challenge community through 3 episodes. But the one thing that has been, kind of the seams that were there to be pulled at was, hey, the mixed gender teams hasn't worked well in the past. It just hasn't. It's never really, we've only done it a couple of times, but every time that they have done it, it hasn't gone great. And the no loser going into elimination, I have talked about the last few weeks that I was in favor and okay with it because I was just so excited to see the whole house voting in public with TJ there. But as we will discuss in the next segment, that is gone to shit. And what has gone to shit here with the daily challenge is for the 3rd time in a row, there's really only 3 teams competing for the win. I think, I don't know if it was Alan Aguirre or Challenge Stats or someone else. I apologize if it was someone else tweeting out during the episode that the, first and second, all 3 of them have been one of these 3 teams of Devin Leroy, Amber and Fessy, Adam and Steve. Like those 3 are just at the top 3 times in a row. And that's what it's been. And it's kind of almost expected. That's what it's going to be. They have been super physical, kind of physical or like athletic based daily challenges so far. That does change next week. Very excited for next week's daily. We'll maybe touch on that at the very, very end of this podcast. But the warts of, hey, the mixed gender teams and the really imbalanced teams as far as just, how they've performed in the past on the competition side of things is starting to be really glaring, and was hopefully a thing that was like, okay, there could be some good that comes out of this. Let's hope for that. And as little of the bad or the things that might drag something down or make it a little more boring or anything on the negative side. And those seams are starting to pull a little of, we're getting some of the bad sides, the possible downsides of this format in this setup, and not really getting the positive side of it that could be there. And so that's not good, but we're still 3 out of 4 in my estimation of really good or great episodes. And this is the first one to not be that. And it is in part because of the gameplay here. And so we'll see where it goes from there. Amber and Fessy dominate again. I guess technically don't dominate. They tie, but they win on the tiebreaker, which I didn't even pick up on until afterwards when they tied and they said they won, the whole bonus ring thing. But they look, the best up there doing it. And it's the second one that they've won. And both of them have been like, hey, is one of you super strong and one of you light and long? This works perfectly for you, sets up perfectly for you. So they do really, really well. Devin and Leroy do really, really well. I was a bit disappointed in a couple teams. I thought Corey and Big T and Turbo and Nani, both, there's a world where they could have really competed for the win on this one, but didn't quite get there. But it is, the daily itself is really fun and cool. I like it. With some more balanced teams, I would really like it. But, this season as a whole is beginning to feel a little like Final Reckoning, which was, the last time we saw a bunch of mixed gender teams. And we had some teams dominate. It was a total mess, though. It was a good cast. An interesting, it's one of the more polarizing seasons ever as far as like, the competition was a little weird and they changed a bunch of things and some teams kind of dominated, but then there was upsets at the very end and, this, that, and the other. And obviously it ends on, an iconic moment of Ashley taking the money from Hunter, but it was really great. And so it was just, high variance season. And this feels like it maybe has that in it. So we will see where it goes. But for now, my guy Fessy and Amber, the team I'm rooting for, gets another win and a chance to do something good. And so the rest of the episode, we get to find out, do they do something good with this power that they've once again got? And the answer is no, but we will get to that. First, we have to discuss some other things that go down once we're back at the house and at nominations. There is an 80s prom party. Love. And I'm always reminded when this happens that like at least a few of them had to talk about this beforehand, because the costumes are great. They're almost everyone except for Steve, who is in his bed, who maybe he attended the party briefly. Maybe this is just editing, or maybe he really did just sit in his bed listening to music or whatever he was doing by himself. But everyone other than Steve is dressed for the occasion and dressed well, and it's fun and it's great, which tells you, they were tipped off. Maybe production tells them we're going to have this theme party this time, but maybe some of them talk beforehand. One way or the other, there's planning that goes into it. They picked a good theme. They did a great party. It looked really, really fun. Everyone's outfits were great. Love. You can't show us enough of it. I would have loved to see more of it. But they got to get back down to business. And speaking of getting down to business, Sam and Aneesa romance in the All-Stars house was the one big takeaway from the 80s party, is those two end up in bed. And I learned a new word tonight. I'm sure all the youngins all know it out there, but Frank tweeted out during the episode that he was sexiled from his bedroom that evening. We see him, kind of leave, and Sam and Aneesa say like, sorry for all the noise or whatever. Didn't know that word. So sexiled, there you go. New word, add to your vocabulary if you were like me and just too old and not cool enough to know fun words like that. But always good to see romance in an All-Stars house. That's a good time. I'm glad some people are having a good time. And you got to give just the biggest shout out to Aneesa. Okay. She finds a way every season. Aneesa is going to have a cuddle buddy at minimum when she is in this challenge house. Okay. I respect it. I don't think her game is discussed enough with how just prolific it is and impressive it is. Every season, though, oh my, and she's on every one of them. She finds a way. She finds a cuddle buddy. She finds some friendship, some companionship within the challenge house, and I respect it. And I don't think it is discussed enough. So shout out to her. Shout out to Sam. Frank then does get to make his call home. It's a very nice call. It's much different than Ashley's call to her significant other. Frank also voicing frustrations with his partner, but doing so in a little bit different way. And also, again, getting to use the full iPad. So I don't know. They were just really like, why does Ashley only get the cell phone? Or did she then get the cell phone for like longer period of time? There's been cell phones popping up in the challenge house a little bit the last couple of seasons. I'm just saying, it seems like maybe they're not like loosening. It's not like these people are on phones the whole time, but they're maybe loosening the rules just a tiny, tiny bit. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. What is Adam and Steve, but Adam is, really taking frontman role as far as we're seeing here, as far as making the pitches and making the arguments and trying to make the deals and things of that nature. And his nominations pitch is better, kind of. I don't think I would volunteer. I think, if he could have had one more lesson with Katie, she would have went through the second level of this is like, don't volunteer. If you know you're going in, make the threats, but don't volunteer. Like, make the threats knowing I'm probably going in, so I should make these threats as my kind of Hail Mary to not go in or to set the stage for what I'm going to do when I go in and come back. But maybe not just a straight up volunteer. Make them all say your names again. It's always a good thing. It's always helpful later on to be able to say, you voted for me 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, whatever, versus being like, you voted for me twice. Being like, dude, you started volunteering. What are you talking about? It's fine. You started volunteering. Everyone was doing it. There's not, make them say your name. Always, always, always make people say your name. But he does at least, like make the good pitch, the smart pitch of, if it's going to be us, give us a star holder. Let's shake this game up. If everyone here is trying to not get blood on their hands, not ruffle feathers, but more of us don't have stars than do. So you that don't have stars, you should want to throw in 2 star holders and get those stars starting to move around without having to actually do any work. It's the right pitch. Everyone should listen to it. Everyone should probably be pressuring Fessy and Amber themselves to be like, hey, there should be a non-star holder alliance building here, and there just does not seem to be quite yet. But he then does do a good job, Adam and Steve, of pitching Fessy and Amber on the best possible move. They make it clear as day. Hey guys, we should work together. We're one of the other good teams here. We are going to ask you to give us the other good team. There's 3 of us here. We've clearly separated ourselves. We want you to give us the other one. We will give you a star if we win. We win, you get a star. You don't even have to go in and face anyone right now. You can just keep winning. You can get a star and keep winning dailies and never have to worry about elimination and be the only one this season that really doesn't. And that's the best deal possible. This is just a layup for them. I don't think their ties to Devin and Leroy should be anywhere near strong enough just because they're ruining this. Like, who can, like, it's just the easy layup, best idea, best move, best game. It's, for Adam and Steve, it's a bit of a risk. Like, I appreciate it. I love it from the game standpoint, the television show standpoint. But if anyone is like not being 100% best for them moved, it would be Adam and Steve taking the risk of like, we want to go against Leroy and Devin versus Fessy and Amber, who have almost zero risk here and are given the best possible move to do. And what do they do with it? They pick Ashley and Aneesa. And I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I need an explanation. I decided to put my notes together and record this podcast immediately without going and watching. Frank has been doing live streams after the episode every single week. And this week, it's him and Ashley do them together. They have a guest each week. This week, Frank and Ashley, we're going to have Amber and Fessy with them. So, someone else out there that is now listening to this, that watch that, if it's saved on Frank's profile, I'll go back and try to watch some of it. We will get an explanation, and I'm doubting that it will convince me in any single way that this was a good idea, and it'll even convince me that this wasn't the worst idea they could have done. There is zero defense of this for the team I am rooting for the, the founder of the Fessy fan club, and I have no idea what is going on here. Just absolutely none. When they were in power before, they put in Beth Janae, who they kind of considered like a weak team that we're not connected to in any way. And I got it. It was the first one. They not have to be too worried as that good of a team. They're going to have chances to get stars. It was the first one. You don't want to make anyone mad. You don't want to set a precedent that good teams are star holders. I defended it then, and it made perfect sense to me. And I was like, yeah. And, no one, it all made sense. It was all good. And last week, Devin and Leroy doing Sylvia and Janae mostly made sense to me because I viewed them, I think, as more of a threat than the people in the house actually did too. And I thought of it a little bit more of like, we're not taking a shot at the top, but we are taking a shot at a good team that could beat us in some things. And so it's still that decision. I know it wasn't Amber and Fessy, but was defensible. This time, it just truly makes no sense. Why are you not taking this deal from Adam and Steve, who definitely are, I think, men of their word, or going to give you that star if they win. And yeah, it just makes that someone's willing to possibly give you a star versus you having to go in there yourself. Always take that. Try to take out you're taking out one of the other two teams. It's still early-ish in the game, but these All-Stars games aren't very long, which may be a place where Fessy and Amber, I think they know this, but maybe they're not, able to think in terms of like, we actually are further into these seasons are shorter. There's not as many of these. There's not as many of these opportunities as possible. So it still feels early to take a shot at one of the other two teams we really feel like we're competing with, but also like we should, because one of them's willing to give us a star. I just don't get it. Aneesa also then, like, her, Fessy says she voted for me before. Cool. Devin did more recently. I think was it Devin? Yeah, Devin or Leroy or one. No, Leroy wasn't there. Yeah, it was Devin that sent Fessy into the last elimination on Ride or Dies, and they lost and went home when they very well could have won that final. Would have been definitely a strong team, him and Mariah, in that final. So that's nothing to me. And this is just a team that, yeah, you're not connected to, and you're not going to make any like alliance members mad, but you don't really have much of an alliance at this point. Your best case alliance was the team that offered to give you a star if they won, if you gave them the team they wanted. And, I don't get it. I don't get throwing in Aneesa and Ashley. I don't think it benefits you in any way. And I guess if I'm just going to keep repeating myself, I can move on. I was interested to think like what even the worst case scenario for them is, of like, so we put in Devin and Leroy and they win, so they're pissed at us. Okay, I guess that's a bad thing. But Devin and Leroy also in this scenario, if they went in and won, would have to give a star away. I have no idea who they would give that star to. Dario and Ashley already have a star, so Leroy, and so does Nany and Turbo, and Nany and Dario are the two people Leroy is connected to. Devin, I guess, like, would he have given it to Aneesa because she's tight with his good buddy Tori? Like, I don't even know what would have happened there. And so, yeah, I just don't think anything would have been hurt by them putting in Devin and Leroy, and Devin and Leroy coming back. And a lot could have been gained by putting in Devin and Leroy and them going home, big competition going home, and you giving Gifted a star. So that's that. The game they then do play is kind of cool. I'm really into it. I like it. I think it's fun. And I think Ashley completely and utterly blows it by taking the goggles off. I mean, I think they can't really like edit around this. They show us the water level after the first round and after the second round. And it's straight up like tied after the first round. And then is an insurmountable lead after the second round when Ashley just does god awful, having taken the goggles off and not being able to look up into the water that's pouring down on your face to be able to try to defend against it. It's just a complete and utter blunder that, this is a toss up, more or less a toss up elimination. And they definitely had a shot. Aneesa, tied that first round and would have got it going in third round. And yeah, Ashley just blows it. But overall, I like the design. I think it was fun. I think it was cool. And I wish Ashley would have kept the goggles on so we could see a fair match. I think Adam did do the best job after the tips from Steve of, kind of doing the quick little circles the whole time as much as possible. And then kind of, splash her in the eyes once. And when she's, kind of drops the guard for a second, really get a good 1-2 second stream into one of the corners. I think he did a great job. But this feels, as much as Adam and Steve killed it again, 3 for 3. It's amazing. Ashley taking the goggles off she lost this for them as much as Adam and Steve won. And that isn't to take anything away from them. They very likely would have won anyways. Who knows? But big blunder on Ashley's part. And she and Aneesa both will be missed from this season. This pairing will be missed from this season. Ashley in particular will be sorely missed. It is way too early to lose her in the chaos and entertainment that she brings to this show. We will be seeing her again soon, which is great. She is filming right now. All Stars, Challenge 41. But way too early to lose her here. And then Adam and Steve again, 3 straight to open. Almost certainly more to come outside of them winning a bunch of dailies in a row instead. I think they're going to end up back here by all accounts. So Sarah Grayson, your record, keep an eye out, 5-0 and winning the season has only been done once. Sarah Grayson, Adam and Steve were both there to witness. Steve witnessed about half of that. Adam witnessed the whole thing. He won that season right alongside of her. And so they could be coming for their former co-stars history here, but 3 straight to open it up. Incredible stuff from Adam and Steve. The old guys bringing it once again and keeping their star and keeping all 4 star holders. 4 episodes in, same 4 star holders through all 4 episodes. We need that to change. We need something to stir this pot up. Maybe we will get that next week. Awards now. Best quote. Ashley had a bunch of possible nominees on this season. I mean, saying all the things she said back to her boyfriend could have been nominated here. Some of the stuff from the end of the episode could have been nominated here. The one I wrote down, I hope Aneesa hasn't snuck any scissors in her pocket to cut the rope and push me off. She's been pushing me over the edge all week, so this is the perfect moment for this. That was really great, and Aneesa, a great sport in laughing at how clever that was in the moment from Ashley. She wins the quote of the week for any number of things that she said. Also, Devin's rookie move from a bunch of senior citizens was also worthy of a shout out. And there was maybe others that I didn't write down, but Ashley gets the quote of the week for whichever thing she said this episode that you want to give it to her for. Best moment, Katie's Masterclass, super fun. The beginning and again at the end, Adam doing the kind of over exaggerated mean mug and her doing it back and stuff at the end was very, very fun. Ashley pre-daily, that quote and just her attitude and everything was great. The Vanessa Carlton 1,000 miles needle drop over then Frank and Sam mostly being horrible and Dario and Ashley looking, just both those teams just, spinning in circles and looking crazy up there on top of the semi trucks. That was just, all of that was great. Loved that whole package together. The 80s prom party, of course, gets nominated. Adam trying to mean mug after the elimination win definitely gets nominated. But we're going to go with the 80s prom party. We got to support anytime there is a good challenge party. We here at the Challenge Historian support it in every way that we can. So the 80s prom party and the sexiling that happens of Frank later by Aneesa and Sam, we will give that the moment of the week. As for MVP, Katie gets some votes. Aneesa definitely gets some votes. Frank gets some votes, as always, it seems, at this point of the season. Adam comes close, but we do have to give the MVP one more time because it will be the last chance we have to the one and only Ashley Millionaire Mitchell. Now for our updated power rankings, and some things have changed. Okay, some things have changed. First off, the streak's over. It's completely and utterly over. If I put you at the bottom of the power rankings, you're the next out. That isn't how these power rankings are meant to work, but it was for a while, seemed to be a bad omen, and that omen is over for now. I do believe it's a bad omen for, you really don't have a chance at winning the season. I think I'm accurate enough with these, but it doesn't mean you're going home next by any means. So Ashley and Aneesa, I had in 9th out of 11 teams, and they are the ones going home. So they're off. We have 10 teams left. And there is a new number 1 because Amber and Fessy had been holding down the number 1 spot, but Amber and Fessy made a ridiculously dumb move in a moment when they could have made a really smart, nice move for them that could have worked out incredibly well. And when you do that, even though you're the best team here, you made a dumb move and you don't have a star. I can't have you still be at first place. At least for 1 week, I got to bump you down, even if I still think if they're in the final, I like them over all these teams by a lot. they can't be number one. So Devin and Leroy take over the top spot. Nani and Turbo slide to 2. Steve and Adam come in at 3rd. Amber and Fessy will be in at 4th. The 4th star holder is down a little ways because then I have Corey and Big T 5th still, Davon and Shane 6th, Ashley and Dario 7th, Frank and Sam 8, Veronica, Katie 9, Melissa, Nicole 10. Melissa and Nicole still have to be at the bottom. Yet again, they just have no chance at communicating or working well together. They're at least like being friendly and having a good time while they're doing awful at the daily challenges, but just each and every time it's just like, yeah, these two are, there's no getting it together, communicating well, competing at the best of either of their abilities while partners. They got to be at the bottom. I respect Veronica and Katie. And now Frank and Sam is on that wavelength of maybe we should be, like the quote unquote weaker teams that are not doing well in the dailies. Maybe we should all be working together. So that's a good thing for them. Maybe, there's more of a shot brewing for those other teams at the bottom of my power rankings. But right now, I still really feel like there's kind of like, there's the 4 teams at the top that I feel really good about. And I still like Corey and Big T, but I was disappointed, and I thought this would be the first daily where we'd be like, oh yeah, maybe they should be in that top tier too. Like that's a team to be threatened by. Davon and Shane, Ashley, Dario, like maybe we'll see. But right now, I think the 4 teams at the top have separated a bit, and I'm giving Nani and Turbo the benefit of the doubt that they, as partners before, have done quite well, and they've both individually done really well, and Turbo's obviously won and everything else. But yeah, that's the power rankings. As for the predictions, which I am still doing incredible at on the season so far, we are 7 out of 9, went 2 and 3 last week again. I said Amber and Fessy would win. I said Adam and Steve would be voted in again. And the one I missed though, I thought Frank and Sam would be thrown in and eliminated, and it wasn't. It was Ashley and Aneesa. So we went 2 for 3. Overall, we are 7 out of 9 on our weekly predictions. So next week, probably going to get 2 out of 3 right. That's just how it goes at this point. I think Adam and Steve are going to win the daily and avoid elimination for the first time this season. I think they're going to have to win the daily challenge to do it, and I think they will actually be able to do that. And then I think we got that Corey, Big T confessional, or right before the daily, in the moment confessional of like, maybe we should go into elimination, try to get that star. I think that maybe was foreshadowing. So I'm going with Corey and Big T volunteer to go in. And if I were to be correct about these first 2 and Adam and Steve win and Corey and Big T volunteer and, everyone says yes, then in that scenario, I would see Adam and Steve wanting to put a star holder in so that there's a safe anyways, but I think they would want to see like, let's guarantee whose star moves if someone's star moves here. And I think they would put Dario and Ashley into elimination to keep the other 2 star holders teams that they maybe view as more beneficial and helpful to them safe. So those are your predictions. That's your breakdown. Ashley, you will be missed. Aneesa, great job getting a cuddle buddy at the last second. And Fessy and Amber, I'm still rooting for you. I still want you to win, but I am disappointed that you did not take the great chance on a silver platter that was handed to you. Don't understand. Can't wait to hear whatever excuse or reasoning they have come up with by now. I look forward to that. Maybe we'll recap that by next week. But again, follow, rate, review. As always, thank you for being here. If you want to hear and you haven't watched or listened already, the Challenge 41 Instant Cast Reactions was out yesterday. Go check it out. Let me know what you think. Maybe you will join the chorus of people who think I am crazy, but that is fine. That is fine. Just do it respectfully. Let's have some fun with it. Disagreement is great and is fun when we do it the right way, and all of you have been doing it the right way. So shout out to you. Shout out to the whole challenge community, and I will talk to you again next week. Peace.